Hey, welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. And on this episode, we are talking comedies. We're talking my top 10 comedies of all time. If you are new to the channel and you like listening to somebody talk about movies and their passion for movies and collecting movies and just all things film related and all that good stuff, including streaming and TV shows and this, that, and the other, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you know when I put up new content and you don't miss it. I truly appreciate you having you here. And the people who have been with me, I appreciate having you. All right, let's get into it. Top 10 comedies of all time. Let me not say it like that. It's not all time. It is my top comedies that I continually reference or that I think are, within that realm of my top 10. None of these are going to have a particular ranking. So I'm not going to do it like, oh, the number one movie is this. Same thing I did with my sci-fi. If you saw I think I did top 5. What did I do? 5 or 10 in sci-fi. I did, the video's right there. If you didn't see that, I talked about sci-fi movies and I did the same thing. I said, look, any one of these movies is interchangeable, although I do kind of have a technical one or two. For me, these are my top 10 that for whatever reason, whether it's a great script and going back to that, like for me, I think great comedy is a combination of storytelling, situations, and then the actors portraying and being able to act out that comedy in a natural way that just makes you laugh. Their ability to take that material, a situation, and make it even funnier by their physical presence, their emotional connection to the actual material, and the way they give that to you is what's really important. Really, situations though. So that's going to bring me to one of my first films here on the list, and that is Eddie Murphy's Coming to America. Coming to America. This is a classic. This could probably be in one of the top 3 spots on the top of the list. This is a film where the situation just dictates the hilarity of the entire situation. Prince Hakeem in this fictitious African nation known as, Zoolander, and he's got to find himself a woman because there's a woman that's already promised to him as the prince, and he's going to get this girl. It's an arranged marriage kind of thing, but he wants to go sow his oats and find his own woman and find true love. So where does a prince go to find a woman befitting for a king? Queens. And it brings him and Arsenio Hall, his faithful companion, sidekick in the kingdom, Semi, and they go to New York. They go to Queens, New York. That premise alone is fucking hysterical. And they try to blend in and they try to just be in New York, in Queens, and meet the right woman. It's got a stellar cast. You've got classic situations. It's Eddie Murphy at his finest, Arsenio Hall at his finest. It's a great film. I won't bring up Coming to America 2 because it was god-awful trash. I did a review on that as well. You can look in the comments below. I'll put the link for that there. But Coming to America stands as a pure classic because of the situation, the story, the storytelling. It's a romance movie. There's a lot going on there, and Eddie's probably at the top of his game like he is for most movies. Next on the list, it's going to be quick. I'm doing this kind of fast. I'm not going to... I taped an episode of this and ended up talking for like a half an hour and went overboard. Because I just kept talking about each movie. So what I'm going to do here is just get into the movies one by one, give you the basic premise, tell you why I like it, and that's it. Next film, Frank Oz did a film called What About Bob, starring Bill Murray, the classic Bill Murray, and Richard Dreyfuss, both of which are at their peak performance levels in this particular film. Bill Murray plays a crazy OCD, guy with all sorts of phobias and fears. He can't go from here to his kitchen or out his front door without actually having some sort of dramatic episode. And he has a therapist named Dr. Leo Marvin. Dr. Leo Marvin, played by Richard Dreyfuss. And Richard Dreyfuss' character, Leo Marvin, is this therapist who's just wrote a new book. He's a bit of a narcissist and so into himself as a therapist and what he does and what he brings to the field. And he's obsessed with Sigmund Freud. And anyway, he winds up going on vacation and leaving Bob alone. And Bob is just like, okay, I can't take this. I need my therapist almost every second, 24 hours a day. So what does Bob Wiley do? He tracks down his therapist who's on vacation at a lake house somewhere upstate, wherever it is, Connecticut, Rhode Island, wherever it is, New Hampshire, I don't know. And he winds up stalking him, and he winds up getting into the family. The family, he's actually endears himself to the family. So the wife and the 2 kids of the therapist actually like this guy, and they invite him for dinner. He winds up staying. The food is delicious. It's really good. If you saw the movie, you know why I just did that. But anyway, Richard Dreyfuss is at the top of his game as the sort of narcissistic, no nonsense guy who's trying to get rid of this nutcase, and Bill Murray is just unbelievable in this film. And the two of them play off each other really, really well. And you find out by the end of this that the therapist is equally as crazy as the patient, if not more crazy, just in a different way. His ability or his desire to control everything in every situation and be really anal about every top possible thing in his life really makes him equally as nuts as Bob Wiley. Maybe not in a textbook clinical sense in the DSM-4 or 5, whatever they're up to, but definitely a nut job. Great film. What About Bob? If you haven't seen it, you got to see What About Bob. Next on my list, The Birdcage. Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, Hank Azaria, Gene Hackman. This could be one of the number ones. This is a film where if I pass it on cable and it's on, I no matter how many times I've seen this movie, and I do own this movie, I will watch it over and over and over and over again. It is just that fucking good. This is another movie where the situation dictates, the premise and situation actually dictates the actual comedy. You've got this gay couple in Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, and they own this nightclub with transvestite shows and all this crazy stuff going on in Miami Beach, Florida. And Gene Hackman plays a politician who's trying to avoid a political scandal with one of the people on his team. So he takes the family down to Florida, where his daughter is actually going to be getting engaged to Robin Williams' son. Robin Williams' son, of course, is mortified by the idea that the family, who, by the way, Gene Hackman is this staunch Republican conservative with, old school traditional Republican family values. So the fact that their daughter is going to be marrying the son of a gay man is just not going to work. So they try to fake it, and they try to figure out a way where, okay, how do we hide the fact that he's gay? So it's Robin Williams trying to play a straight man with Nathan Lane, and Robin Williams trying to teach Nathan Lane how to be a straight man, while Hank Azaria plays the super flamboyant Agador Spartacus, the butler, the houseboy for them, and he's trying to play straight. It's a hysterical film. Hank Azaria in this alone could have got an Oscar by himself. Robin Williams is perfect. Nathan Lane is perfect. The situation, Gene Hackman is hysterical in this movie. It is a fantastic film that I will watch over and over and over again, because every single scene, every situation, every line that's uttered in this film is done with such perfection. You can probably stand this on its own, and it will hold up for years and years and centuries to come. And few films can come close to it when it comes to the overall package. All right, so The Birdcage. If you've not seen The Birdcage, make sure you see The Birdcage. All right, next on the list, Christopher Guest. Waiting for Guffman, Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. For your consideration, Best in Show. This is my favorite of all the Christopher Guest stuff, and that ensemble cast with Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara and all of them and Bob Balaban, that whole thing. This is my favorite movie. This mockumentary style film about the Mayflower Kennel Club dog show. And this is a film that just, the cast, the setup, the way it's done, all the couples here. So you've got like 5 different couples that are dog breeders, dog trainers, dog lovers, and they enter their dogs into this competition in Philadelphia. It explores their personalities and their relationships with their dogs and their quest to get the ultimate championship, whatever they call it, Best in Show, at this dog show. The supporting cast, as well as the regular cast, Fred Willard plays one of the commentators at the actual dog show. It's probably some of my favorite parts of this film, is when Fred Willard is doing all these sexual innuendo jokes and such about the actual dog show and the trainers and the woman that's judging it. And the guy that's with him is this really stiff Brit, and he's totally like not hearing any of these jokes. He's very serious about the dog show and how he commentates on it. So, again, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Christopher Guest, Parker Posey, Michael Hitchcock, Michael McKean and John Michael Higgins, Jennifer Coolidge and Jane Lynch, Larry Miller, Winky. Oh, the dog. Winky is... I don't want to get into this guy. Larry Miller is hysterical. This is a very, very well done perfect mockumentary type film. I think it's probably the best one ever made, in my opinion. Best in Show. If you haven't seen Best in Show and you think it's just some random movie about corny people with dogs, you need to watch this movie because it will have you in stitches. Best in Show, Christopher Guest, written by Guest and directed by Guest, written by Guest and Eugene Levy. Best in Show. All right, this one seems to always stir controversy when I tell my friends about this one. Like, why? Why is this one of my favorite films? Jay Roach, Meet the Parents. Why is this favorite film of mine? Because it's situational. Anyone who's been involved, like where you meet a young lady's parents the first time and you go to their house and there's that awkwardness of being in their house and trying to be a gentleman and trying to be, the right guy. And the father's a little stiff or a little off-putting in some way, as De Niro is here. I love De Niro's performance in this movie. I love Ben Stiller's performance in this movie. Owen Wilson's in this film. The idea that the girl you're going to marry, like she's friends with her ex-boyfriend and they have like the perfect relationship and you find out it was all physical. It's just situations. It's kind of like an improv thing where you say, all right, we're going to put you in a situation, figure it out. And everyone kind of just does their thing. Greg is the newcomer in the family. Everyone else already has their bonds. They have their relationship. So automatically you're the outsider and you're trying to fit in. And sometimes that's awkward and it just works here. I don't think the second one was any, the second and third one, second one wasn't bad. Barbra Streisand, Dustin Hoffman, can't go wrong there. It was pretty good, but you're regurgitating a lot of the jokes from the first one, which a lot of films do. But Meet the Parents, in my opinion, Jay Roach, again, classic, really well done, improvisational sort of situation comedy, which I just, every time it's on, I watch it. I do own it. I do like Ben Stiller. So Meet the Parents. If you haven't seen that one, you definitely should watch it. Start with the first one. If you want to watch the second one, go ahead, forget the third one. All right, second Eddie Murphy movie on this list. There are 3 total. All right, but second one, Trading Places. Again, one of those movies that could take the ranking as number 1 if I would rank these and say, what is my favorite of all time? Trading Places right up there. Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis. This is the movie. Eddie Murphy's performance of this guy who's a bum, who's down and out from the ghetto, from, whatever. And then Dan Aykroyd is the rich Wall Street guy and pretentious, pompous, Ivy League graduate with the perfect life and the perfect girlfriend and the perfect friends. And then they get switched and it's an experiment, and Mortimer and what's his name, and they switch these guys, and Eddie Murphy finds himself in Dan Aykroyd's luxurious life. And how does that affect him? How does it affect somebody from the hood? And what are they going to change when they have money? How is it going to affect their character? What are they going to be like? What's Dan Aykroyd going to be like when he goes from being this rich guy who's pampered and has everything in life and is suddenly thrust into this world where he's got nothing and he's a nobody? How does that affect them? And watching this movie play out, watching their performances, it is absolutely brilliant. Directed by John Landis. It is a perfect execution in comedy and situation. And I fucking love Trading Places. Trading Places is just that movie. If you haven't seen Trading Places, it's an older movie, 1980. I want to say 82. I could be wrong. I'm just guessing now, but I know it's like 80. Maybe it's later than that. Maybe it's 84. I'm going to guess 83 on that. Somewhere in that range. Somewhere in that range where Eddie Murphy, like Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours, all these films. Trading Places is up there. This is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy films. Again, there's more on my list and we'll get to them. But for right now, Trading Places, if you haven't seen it, make sure you see Trading Places. All right, another one on my list that sometimes gets me looked at kind of funny when I say it's one of my favorite comedies, Wedding Crashers. I like Wedding Crashers. I like Owen Wilson and I like Vince Vaughn together. I like them as a comedy team. I think Vince Vaughn's one of my favorites, and he's in the 6 Foot and Over Club. So shout out to Vince Vaughn. He's 6 foot. He's like my height, 6'4", 6'5". And I like Owen Wilson's quirky, kind of weird, like surfer dude kind of comedy. I like the two of them together. I think the situation here with Christopher Walken as this, a politician, a high-end politician, and somehow these guys who just normally try to get laid, going to these weddings and crashing them, that's fine. But then the idea that they end up in this family, like a political family, they end up getting invited for the weekend, and the security measures here seem to be totally lax. Like, how did they fake that one? It just seems really ridiculous. It's totally absurd on the premise when you analyze it, but it plays out to be pretty funny. Bradley Cooper is in this movie. It's early work by Bradley Cooper before he was super famous. He plays a total douchebag in this movie. He does a great job, and it's a good movie. It's a cute movie. It's a romantic comedy of sorts. It's got its moments. It's got its highs and its lows. If you haven't seen Wedding Crashers, you definitely should see Wedding Crashers. Wedding Crashers is a funny, good time. That's all I can say about it. Is it Does it rank as like a classic that's in, timeless and is never going to be forgotten? Maybe not. But for me personally, I love the movie. I will watch it over and over again. I do own it. And I think it's a great laugh every single time. So Wedding Crashers, make sure you see it if you haven't seen it. Next on the list, another Eddie Murphy movie. This one, Life. Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, directed by Ted Demme. This is a film a couple weeks ago. Some friends out of town, we were discussing, and I had just seen it like a night or two before and realized what an incredible film this is. And I think it's very underrated as far as Eddie Murphy's catalog of comedy, as far as comedies in general, even his film in general. I just think Life kind of just gets overlooked and gets run over often. But this is a really deep film with the veneer of real comedy by some really great comic greats and an ensemble cast. You've got Anthony Anderson's in this, Bokeem Woodbine is in this. You've got Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac, the late great Bernie Mac. This is just a fantastic cast with really great story and dealing with a subject matter that is really serious. You're talking about, the atrocities committed against black men, innocent black men who lost their lives, who were incarcerated and who were innocent time and time again and end up losing their lives, losing their families, losing everything, and being put in jail. And that's what happens here. So you got this really deep story, but there's the comedy. It just doesn't stop. The upper room, you're going to eat your cornbread. I could go on with the lines from Life. I'm not going to embarrass myself here, but Life is a truly must own Eddie Murphy movie. It's a must rewatch. Even if you've seen it before, I can't stress enough. Watch it again. Really watch Life and understand how serious of a film that is, what it deals with, and how fucking funny it is, and how it belongs in like probably the top 5 of Eddie Murphy's his best films of all time for Eddie Murphy. All right, Life. Watch it if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, watch it again. All right, another one. I think this is like my third in a row where I've talked about a film that gets me kind of these weird looks when I say, or people haven't heard of it. So this is actually a good thing because as I always say on my channel, I'm trying to get you to see things you probably haven't seen. This is a Cohen Brothers movie. This is the second Cohen Brothers movie on my list. There's a bunch of I could probably just take the Cohen Brothers in general and put their entire catalog on my list, and I'd be fine with that. Starting with Fargo and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and I can just go on and on. But for right now, we're talking about a romantic comedy starring Catherine Zeta-Jones and George Clooney. This is Intolerable Cruelty. It's one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time. Boomerang being my number 1 romantic comedy. But Intolerable Cruelty brings a smile to my face every single time I watch it. It's a dark, Coen Brothers-esque comedy with murder and like betrayal and all this weird shit happening and quirkiness with the characters and these strange situations. But it is George Clooney at some of his funniest, finest moments. If you want to see Clooney as truly funny, you watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But Intolerable Cruelty, he does a great job here. Catherine Zeta-Jones has probably never looked better. She's fucking fantastic. Cedric the Entertainer is in this. You want tech? Call a tactician. One of my favorite lines from the movie. If you've not seen this, you should see it. Clooney plays a divorce attorney. Catherine Zeta-Jones plays this woman that's constantly playing men, and then she marries them for their money, and then she divorces them. She sets them up, and then she divorces them, and she finds her match when she goes against George Clooney, and George Clooney finds his match when he deals with her. Really good movie, really funny, dark, Coen Brothers-esque kind of stuff. So if you're a Coen Brothers fan and you haven't seen this one, you need to see it. It's kind of under the radar. Again, people look at me like I'm crazy when I say I love this film. But go ahead and watch Intolerable Cruelty. Which brings me to the next Coen Brothers film. I could probably just say a couple of words and that'll be the end of it. I don't even need to say anything else. The Dude. The Dude. Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Julianne Moore, Peter Stormare. This is the definitive comedy. I think if I have to go on a limb and I got to say, okay, I'm picking number 1, what I think is the fucking funniest movie, what I just think is all round unbelievable, funny for so many fucking reasons, it's got to be The Big Lebowski. And probably a bunch of you right now are clicking that like button like, hell yeah, he said Big Lebowski. I got to like this video. You should like the video anyway. If you like this video so far, hit the like button. I truly appreciate that. It helps me. It helps the channel. It helps you. Helps me bring out, good shit. But yeah, Big Lebowski. I don't need to say anything. You've probably seen this movie. If you've not seen this movie, what are you doing? You have to watch The Big Lebowski. I don't care what makes you laugh, what gets you a rise, what kind of film, what actors you like. If you've never heard of Philip Seymour Hoffman, if you don't care about this bum guy named The Dude, I don't care. You've got to watch this movie because you will find yourself laughing from beginning to end. It is hysterical. John Goodman in this movie is just, I didn't rent it shoes, dude. I'm not buying it a beer. He's not going to take your turn. I can't do all, I know all the lines, but I can't really act them out per se. I actually had a client in Atlanta who did a really good job. I wish I remember his name, but he did like every line from all the John Goodman lines he did. Classic movie. Steve Buscemi hardly says a word, but he's fucking hysterical. It's a great film. The Big Lebowski, probably the top of my list for comedy. All right, I think that's the end. I hope I did 10. I did that when I did the sci-fi thing. I kind of screwed up and only did I think I was doing my top 10. I only did like 8 or 9. Anyway, I got some honorable mentions. I was told before, oh, don't do the honorable mentions, but I'm going to mention them anyway. A couple honorable mentions. Cable Guy, directed by Ben Stiller, starring Jim Carrey. I fucking love that movie. A very dark movie. Matthew Broderick in that movie. Dark, very disturbing, but fucking hysterical. Jim Carrey's performance is everything in that movie. Zoolander, another Ben Stiller movie. I didn't know I was such a huge Ben Stiller fan, but Zoolander, which I thought was going to be a stupid movie. I had no interest in seeing it, but when I saw it, I was like, this is fucking genius. Again, Vince Vaughn is in that, Owen Wilson. Bowfinger, another Eddie Murphy movie, which I think went under the radar and it deserves much more props. Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, can't go wrong there. It's classic. And I also, another fucking Ben Stiller movie, Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder, very controversial, probably could not be made these days in this politically correct cancel culture society we're in, but a fucking classic film, Tropic Thunder. So those are my honorable mentions. That's my top 10 list of top 10 comedies. If you agree with a lot of those, you want to add some, let me know in the comments below. Definitely smash that like button. I truly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And that's really it. Comedies. Next, we'll probably do top 10 romance films. We probably won't get far because I don't watch too many romance films. Maybe top 10 horror. Then again, I don't really watch that much horror either. We'll figure it out. Anyway, stay tuned. Appreciate having you here. I look forward to the next video. In the meantime, I wish everyone peace, power, and prosperity. I will see you on the next This Guy Talks Movies.